Start.
Click it.
Are you sure you want? Yes. Fuck. Your event is starting.
Let's
Yay!
go.
There it goes.
Welcome.
Wait. Hold that thought. Hold on.
From the guys that brought you Butt Go 6 and 14.
Keep talking, Kimberly.
Ba-ba-ba-ba. That's my thing.
Darn Ferkin drinking Geeson.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
French. I am everything. I am the Alpha and Omega, the A to Z on the fucking internet. Cute doesn't belong on the internet. I belong on the internet.
It's scary.
I know.
Scary. Shut the fuck up, Thomas.
Whoa.
Oh, hi, Mark.
It's Hanging from the Balcony with Sir Jared, the Professor, Nathan Betts, Miss Professor, and Thomas the Doubter.
Oh, I know what's going on here. There we go.
There we go. And record. Hey, are we on?
Yes.
And welcome to Hanging from the Balcony. I am Lewis, the Professor.
That's him.
Yes, that is me. Tonight with me are my friends, Nathan Betts.
Hi.
And you can, at Nathan Betts. For
At Nathan L. Betts.
L. Betts.
Yes.
L. The L is for awesome.
And it's for silent. It's silent. Yes.
It's a silent L. Also, beside me is Kimberly, the other professor. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good to have you here. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Lewis. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, all right. And then finally, we have Thomas the Doubter, everybody's favorite.
He doubts everything.
I don't think so.
You're my favorite.
I don't have any fans.
We had a vote, and we decided you're the favorite.
Yes.
And
You're
then...
I was not part of this.
Were you not part of the vote?
Well, no. You're like the opposite of the redheaded stepchild.
Yes, you're the black-headed stepchild.
Yes. Or the firstborn, maybe. Yeah.
It's like in Arrested Development when they all vote to kick out the person from the dorm room, and then he opens up the thing that says "Dad." He knows
It's supposed to be anonymous, but it says Dad. That's good.
Love Dad.
Well, how's everyone doing tonight?
I'm here.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, did we all watch a lot of movies this week?
Heck no.
A few. I watch a few movies.
Well, you know,
A
okay.
smidge.
The movies for the last month that we took off, thank heavens we took it off.
Yeah, it
because
wasn't
movies
anything.
were shit
Wasn't
in the
worth
theater. But some bigger movies are starting to come out. So this week, Noah was the movie that came out, and we went and saw. Kimberly and I saw it. We saw Noah.
Did you storm out outraged that it didn't follow the Bible? Because I read that on Facebook about 20 times.
You know, I was actually really interested in how it would connect with the Bible and how it would not. At least the versions you've all read. What I found was it follows the Bible maybe too closely for some people.
Oh, really?
Like Noah gets drunk and lays naked in the cave at the end of the movie, just like in the Bible.
Right.
But if you don't know that part of the Bible, you're like, why is Noah drunk? Why is he
naked? And in a cave.
And it's important that he's drunk and naked. And if you actually read the Bible,
That's what it says.
that's what it says.
Yeah,
So
and
there's
Ham
all
comes
these-
in and sees him, and the other brothers
Yeah.
cover him, and that's exactly the scene.
And you get all
It's
these
weird, but-
complainers. We saw a couple clips from Fox News, and they are complaining that it's not biblical. They don't say God. And
Because they call him the creator.
Yeah, they call him the creator, but there actually is a line from the movie where one of the sons says, God is our creator.
Right.
And so they actually do mention God, say that he's the creator. It's very obvious that it's God, right? Like Old Testament God. And the other thing they got really upset about was the drunkenness, and they had no idea why that was there. And they say Noah is cast in a very negative light. They don't like that Noah
but
actually
he
is like a
is.
fallible person.
Well, he's still a dude.
yeah.
So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
So
but he
there-
is
those-
cast in a really negative light. Because
He's
for
kind
most of the movie, Noah's like, I think God wants all humans dead. That's why he's killing everybody.
Wasn't that kind of his attitude, though?
Yeah, but like including Noah and his family. Like he really has no
He
intention
thinks
of.
no one deserves to live, including his family.
Yeah.
He's just supposed to take care of all the animals. Like, that's his main job.
And here's the thing no one's talking about. This movie is about how you're supposed to be a vegetarian because eating an animal is like an affront to God.
Oh, wow.
Like
Noah's a vegetarian.
He's a
and he teaches
vegetarian, and his family
to eat that
is.
way too.
And when people eat animals, like all the sinners are like, I eat animals because it makes me stronger. And they're like, that's why mankind has to be blown off the earth. Like, that's the reason.
And
I
we
was
see
like,
our baddie, our main bad guy, just biting into a raw snake.
Yeah, he just eats its head off. He's
oh
like,
my God.
And you hear all these bones or whatever is in stuff.
Yeah, it's strange, though. Like, that was a weird message just kind of thrown in there.
But you're right, no one's actually talking about it.
No one's talking about it, even though I think it's kind of there.
Yeah, it's there.
The angels are
the
either
fallen angels.
They're either super cool or super whatever, but they're fallen angels that have landed on Earth, and because they fell on purpose to come help man.
The Nephilim?
Yeah, but so because they fell, God like covers them in earth, so they're these rock monsters.
With like lots of arms and
Like
legs.
stone giants.
But they look more like spiders.
Yeah.
They have like
Weird.
because their wings are like.
And where the stone, the earth is around them, you kind of cracks through, and you can kind of see the inner light of these
this glowing
angels.
light coming out of them, yeah. And so I
That's kinda
spent
cool.
most of the
They're
movie
cool.
going, you know, if this had been called like Lord of the Rings, The Flood of Zarnakar, Farbar, or whatever. I know.
Can you say that again?
Title generator.
But if it had been like a fantasy movie, I don't think anyone would have thought anything of it. They'd just be like, "Oh, this is a cool fantasy movie about how the world like it's totally drowned and stuff." But because it's Noah, people go in with this like Bible thing on their shoulders, and it has to fit their
Preconceived notions.
which is most of us when we think of Noah's Ark, we have this kind of I was 5 years old in Sunday school, and someone
I
held
saw
up a
these-
happy picture book and
Yeah.
look at the animals
Or
going in.
even worse, somebody held up like a paper mache or construction paper cutout or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Something
what
made
people
out of
think.
felt.
So this movie's like, I think if anyone's bothered by it, like if religious people are bothered by it, it's because it's too close to the Old Testament.
I think
version.
it shows the reality of the situation, and it's kind of frightening.
Yeah.
I really think that's
There
the
are scenes
problem.
in there where people are like, Noah, everyone's dead. I mean, he didn't just kill the wicked; he killed the babies,
And
like little
Everybody.
babies.
Just-
And Noah's like, I know, he wants us all gone.
Yeah.
That's the point, is he wants everyone to die. And so finally at the end, Noah changes his mind, and we get the idea that maybe the reason Noah didn't kill off everybody was because that's why God picked him, because he would eventually realize that maybe humans should keep going. Whatever. Obviously,
yeah, but
we
until
fucked up.
then,
Look at us.
Until then, he's just this barbaric asshole.
He's
Like,
really
he's
hard to
very
like character.
unlikable.
He's very unlikable.
Yeah.
He spends half the movie going, as soon as that baby's born, I'm killing it.
Oh my God, dude.
He spends half the movie
Yes,
saying that.
he does.
He's going to flat out put a knife in a baby's head.
Wow.
Second it's born.
Yeah.
That's half the movie is him saying that.
And that's where we get Cryfest 5000. I'm sorry, it should be called Noah Cryfest 5000.
Because all the women just cry constantly.
Emma
Watson.
Watson. She's the adopted daughter of Noah, who's having said baby that's going to be stabbed in the head when it is born. Yeah, she just cries all the time. And it's the other women that cry. You're right.
No, because they don't want the baby to get stabbed.
No, but not that scene. Like the whole movie. If you see a woman in the movie, she's crying. I'm not joking. I'm not
It would
exaggerating.
be very upsetting if I was around a man who talked about stabbing a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
as
she
well.
cries like all the time. All the time.
I'm going to argue, though, that the movie's more about her than it is
It
about
is.
anyone else.
She's kind of like this sneaky...
It's called Noah, but it should be called like
Focus.
Emma Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Emma Watson cries.
No, she's more important than both of his sons, and she's more important than the wife.
Should be called Emma
just-
Wept.
Yes.
Yeah, but it is kind of a story
Yeah, it's kind of
between
a
Russell
story.
Crowe and Emma Watson.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And there's floods and
I mean,
stuff.
you guys. I mean, as far as You're kind of going back and forth as far as this was kind of cool, but this.
And that's
so were you in between? Just
No, I'm in the top part of the bottom of the in between.
fair enough.
So it's like a 2. It's between. It's like a 2 and a 3.
Okay.
It's like
like 2.7
out of 5. You know.
Yeah, I came out and first thing I said to Kim was, "What do I do with that movie?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Was it good? Was it bad?
Yeah,
I mean, at times it was interesting. At times it was just confusing, just baffling."
Always the thing I said to you. We left and I went, "Oh, that was too religious-y for me."
Yeah, she did say
it was
that.
like too. I don't know. Like I just
And I think in some ways it wants to have its cake and eat it too. For example, Noah tells the story of the creation of the earth. In the beginning there was darkness, and then God said, "Let there be light." And it shows the Big Bang. And then as he's telling the Genesis, creation of the earth story, on screen we're watching the universe form over billions of years, but it's all very quick. It's all happening in fast forward, and the earth cools, and then then there was light, and they separated this.
So it's making both sides happy.
And then evolution happens.
Yeah, they actually show the fish crawling out of the water, becoming a lizard, becoming an animal in the tree, and then becoming a monkey, and then
wow.
Then we see the monkey kind of walk up towards Eden, and then suddenly there's this kind of cut, and suddenly humans are there, but they're not human. They're these
like
glowing creatures,
figures.
like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, glowing
right
creatures,
when it's like
and they reach for the fruit.
Image. Yeah.
Spoilers.
But my point is, it's like,
I won't watch it.
they're trying to show us how the creation story fits with evolution,
right?
But then suddenly humans are just like magic
there,
right?
Yeah.
So it's tricky, and it deals a lot with the idea of Cain and Abel and Adam, and there's a lot of questions as to whether or not God's even real.
Wow.
Except then you get Anthony Hopkins, who plays Methuselah, and he's just like
the grandfather.
He's like this senile, crazy old man who's 1,000 years old or whatever. And then like Emma Watson can't have babies, and he's
barren.
like, "Oh, how are you? Let me do something here for you." And he reaches for her tummy, and you just hear this, and she goes, "Oh." And he's like, anyway, I'm going to go get some berries.
You sound like the scientist from that cartoon you showed us.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. Honestly.
I'm going to get some berries. I'm going to go get some berries. All right.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
We do Rick and
Well,
Morty.
but Anthony Hopkins is just a weird kind of character actor sometimes anyway, right? He's got a certain style that he brings to... I swear he spends a month creating a new way to be a character, and then he gets on screen and it's the same guy I've seen every time.
Red 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Red 2, this kind of confused old man who's really smart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... Can I recommend it? Yeah, you should watch it on Netflix if it ever comes to Netflix.
Okay. That's kind of what my plan was to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
I would argue this is the Aronofsky film to skip. I don't even know if you need to see it.
Was the collection of animals even interesting?
No.
No, because they put him to sleep.
Aw, boring.
No, the collection of animals...
Really part of it. They just showed up, and then they put them in their little things, and their little kennels, and their little nests.
Do they show how the unicorns...
And then they just come through with these smelling wafts of things, and then they all magically fall asleep forever.
And stay asleep the whole movie.
The whole movie. They're just asleep.
And it's almost like they're like, oh yeah, that's part of the Bible.
Shit, we gotta... This is like the...
Like
3/4 of the story.
If they could cut the animal sequences out, this movie would be better.
Oh,
right?
By the way, no real animals were used at all. I read this cool article.
Really?
He used all like CGI stuff because he worked on a movie a while back, and they had a trainer and they used the animal, and he saw how awful the whole situation was, and he says, I immediately just became an advocate for animal rights and said, I'm never going to have a live animal on set ever again. It was terrible.
Wow.
So he did the whole thing without real animals, which looked fine. I didn't notice really.
And there are some
difference.
Animals that we don't have that like because like well, one of the bad guys gets on the boat and he hides in the basement. And so to stay alive, he just eats animals. So he's just picking up animals and eating them. And one of the sons knows about it, and he's like, you can't kill that. There's only 2 of them left on the Earth. And he's like, now there's only 1.
I'm fucking starving, man.
Yeah,
He
it's
did. He
a
ate
really
me.
weird story, though. It's really like...
I think Lewis has it. It wants its cake and
it wants to go both
yeah.
ways. If you're a super religious person and you're like, this is a great way to teach my kids the story of Noah, they'll come out of this movie going
Confused.
Oh, you believe that Lord of the Rings is true because this is clearly a fantasy movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it plays like a fantasy movie, and I think he wanted it to on some level. I think he really wanted it to look like a fantasy.
Rock angels and
With the rock angels.
Those were the coolest part.
They are the coolest part,
They
and
were
maybe
good.
the worst part at the same
And
time. It's hard to know.
it's
This
like
movie's.
you're like,
strange.
wait, what? Cool.
I know it's a bad review, huh?
There's a great battle with the rock giants that's pretty cool. I think it's impressive. You're like,
Yeah.
whoa!
The rock giants.
Swaths of humans dying and flying through the air.
They were kind of my
Squashed.
favorite just because they were so weird.
Yeah.
They didn't move like rah rah. They were like
Like that weird thing from Legion or whatever that was that movie that was supposed to be really good that really sucked.
a little bit, yeah. Where it doesn't look normal.
Yeah.
It looks almost like a spider to make you kind of uneasy and so forth. Yeah. So what did you see, Nathan?
I finally got around to 2012's picture of the year. Only 2 years
Yeah.
later.
Was that Argo?
Argo, yeah. I finally watched Argo,
right on.
and
You've
really,
seen that, right, Tom?
Oh, yes.
Really liked it. I couldn't stop thinking. First of all, this happened 2 years before I was born, but like every 10 minutes, I'm like, "Holy shit, this really happened!" Like, because it plays like such a perfectly, it's like a great caper almost, or like a great whodunit or whatever. Like it's so out there, and then you realize this fucking happened. Like somebody really did this. This actually happened. And then at the very end, they show the pictures of the real people.
Right.
And they have the real news throughout the whole thing, which was really cool. And
Yeah, that was what got us too, or at least got me, is the way they would show the actual buildings, and you'd go, "Oh, that's exactly the building that they showed us in the movie." Like, "Oh, that's the window they came out of."
Yeah.
Just like in the movie. Yeah, that
yeah,
was
it was, yeah. So the way they kind of weaved everything together, and then at the end, matching up some stuff and putting the actors with the real people. I will say that one of the gals, the really dark brooding one, that's always a dark brooding one, whatever she plays. I don't remember what her real
It's
name
been a
is.
while since I.
Yeah, it's been a
seen
while
that.
for me.
Anyway, I think she looked the least like her real person, but the rest of them looked pretty damn close.
Well, it's not gonna be perfect,
Right.
in Hollywood, and you know.
But that being said, everyone else looked pretty like really really close, and it was a really. I guess the major thing that I took away from it is just like every 5 minutes I was just blown away that this really happened, and it was only like 30 years ago that it happened.
I remember being
or 34
really
years ago.
emotionally shaken by the film too. Like in the beginning, I think it was before
yes.
even marked 30 minutes in. I had already cried once. Like I was like, oh my god!
Because when they first took the hostages.
Yeah,
it was.
And can you believe they held
terrifying.
hostages for over a year?
Yeah, that was
Outrageous.
How
And
was that?
I don't know how often they did it, but the scene where they would take him downstairs or outside or whatever, and have the things over their head, and then fire cold at them with nothing. Oh my god! Could you imagine the psychological damage those people had for the rest of or do have if they're still alive for the rest of their life? Like anytime a small click or a twig snaps, they're like, oh my god! Like they would the worst PTSD ever.
But of course, the movie isn't 100% accurate. Like
Right.
the big chase at the end wasn't nearly that close.
I doubt it was that close at all.
But I get it.
You gotta
It's
make
Hollywood.
it. Yeah, you gotta make it exciting.
I just keep picturing like a guard looking at their application and just eating something, and then like food falling on, and he's just like,
Oh no!
"Can I get a copy?" I mean, it's just like, "Oh man, and problems tomorrow." It's just it was that I actually thought the ending probably bothered me the most. The rest of the movie is really good, but it was just kind of.
Best, but expecting the worst.
You know what?
I should've said prom.
Are we still at prom? We're at prom right
the
now.
science fiction movie the script that they were basing it on, they called it Argo. It's based on a book by Roger Zelazny called Lord of Light, which I highly recommend.
Okay.
It's a really good book.
You and your books.
My sci-fi.
Look at me, I'm Lewis and I read.
I'm a professor.
I know how to read.
I read 2.5 books a year.
Well, hello.
I'm smart. The only thing besides being just blown away that actually happened and being pretty emotionally shaken from it, I did kind of hope that we would get even like 2 minutes of the sci-fi movie, just for the fuck of it, just throwing it together, because the script exists, right?
I hope they make it someday.
I think that
I want
would
to
be
see that.
I would love to see that movie.
And
to tell you
now
the truth.
we have computers and stuff. Supposedly we can make movies.
Sure. that look like the Iranian landscape.
Like sci-fi movies that look good. I guess I should have finished that sentence.
Yeah.
Star Wars begs the difference. Come on.
Well, you make a good point. Star Wars looks so much better before computers than after.
I think it does too. Another thing that I kept trying to reconcile, and I guess it's just the time that they were in then versus what we're in now. I had a hard time buying that they didn't put 2 and 2 together. Like, all of a sudden there's this film crew from America here to scout out a scene for their movie or whatever. Like, even though, I mean, I know it's hard, like, for some reason I just think, bullshit.
To be fair, though, I mean, they'd been there a while.
Yeah.
And it...
It'd been months before they got in.
You can't even... I mean, who would do that?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's such a dumb idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
dumb.
certainly a one-time only.
Yeah, that will never in the history of the world
world.
ever work again.
Yeah.
It's literally like the Trojan horse.
It's something that was thrown together and it just worked perfectly.
Maybe the reason it has to be based on a true story is because if it wasn't and someone just wrote that as a story idea, we'd be like, bullshit.
Yeah.
No one's they're not that stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the weird thing about real life sometimes is that
the absurd, usually
really
will
stupid
work.
stuff happens. Yeah. What about you, Thomas? Did you see anything?
I saw one movie, Man of Tai Chi.
Oh, you watched that one?
Yeah.
Is that the Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Did you watch that last week?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And
how'd
the
that
only
go?
reason why we watched it, well, me and a friend watched this, we were like, martial arts movie. And I was like, no, I actually enjoyed it for a martial arts movie. And in fact, the one thing that I was really impressed with was Keanu Reeves really managed to capture kind of this Asian spirit of filmmaking. Like, it felt like I was kind of watching an Asian movie. As far as
legit Asian movie.
Yeah, even as far as the way a lot of the Asians acted.
Keep talking. I can't see your face.
Oh,
your
okay.
pretty little face.
Thanks. Anyways, no, and it's not overacting.
Let's put this in front of that.
It's not overacting, but the way Asians act really emotional at times, as far as I'm trying to think of.
So kind of that Asian style that you see like in 50s Kurosawa movies?
Even like Ip Man, as far as the way it seems like they're overacting, but that's just the way Asians act.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Keanu directing, like I had to keep on reminding myself, and he managed to capture that. Like it felt like an Asian movie.
Nice.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
It's very well
to be honest,
done
it's
in that aspect.
really creepy to see him crack a smile, like a smirk, and then see him laughing as a bad guy.
He's got a pretty decent maniacal.
He's pretty dark.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
unnerving actually.
Mind you,
I have trouble seeing
he's
him as an actor.
He's still pretty stone cold through a majority of it, but when you see him like show that kind of.
Is this on Netflix?
Yes.
Watched recently?
Yeah.
It just popped up like a month ago.
It's not a perfect film, but
it's an imperfect one.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But worth watching, I think. And the martial arts is interesting.
Yeah, the martial arts is good, very entertaining. You'll be surprised sometimes.
That's good.
Yeah. That to be honest, I thought the last fight scene was probably the worst.
Where he busts out his move for the first time.
Well, no, not so much that. Keanu's kick is about as fast as a turtle compared to these these martial artists who are just moving like so fast.
Like the main dude
mind you,
mind-blowingly fast.
he's taller, and the first couple kicks you're like, oof. Then the rest of it, you're like, okay, I can deal with the rest of it. But
his fight scene was a little
spin
rigid.
kick, and it's like I'm 50 years old.
I'm 49. Oh, I'm definitely 49. Oh, motherfucker, I'm 49.
But no, it's kind of fun to see Keanu in a different light.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, the acting's acceptable.
He wears this really badass all dark charcoal mask half the time because he doesn't want to be revealed to his fans and shit. It's really interesting little.
Well,
little extra gimmick.
they record.
So they don't know who it is.
Right.
They're like, I wonder what 6'8" Asian that guy is.
Well, they record these matches kind of like a pay-per-view for rich people. Guys
And
beating the
you
crap
can
out of
only
them.
get it on this one website, and it moves, and it's
They
this
move
whole
the fights
thing.
around.
Yeah.
It's not a new idea,
No.
but if the competitors don't perform, then he takes matters into his own hands.
I always wonder about the logic of that when they're like, the cops are like, we can't seem to track down this website where they show it because they keep moving it and everything. And I'm like, well, just sign up as a viewer.
Yeah.
Because clearly they're telling their viewers.
Well, they as far as it looks like it's the only rich, like really rich.
Only the
Like these
super
guys,
rich.
these guys are like obviously
sultans
rich.
and
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah.
It's those rich guys who get bored with
So
water
did you
skis
like it?
and want to see people kill each other.
Would you recommend
that
it?
level of rich.
Is it better than
I
Noah?
got it.
From what it sounds like,
Yeah.
but mind you, the story it is a martial arts movie, so the story's not exactly anything
Okay.
new.
Yeah.
But
Or exciting.
yeah,
But-
but the fight scenes are cool.
Yep.
Keanu's kind of fun to see as a villain, and if you want just a light martial arts movie that's not terrible, then
Okay.
yeah, watch it.
I
Definitely
can go with Keanu's
worth.
villain.
Yeah, definitely worth watching on Netflix.
I think I give it I wanted to give it a 3.5, but I couldn't, so I ended up giving it a 3. I think.
2.53.
Okay. All right, let's move on to movie news.
Yes. Ooh, that's me.
Okay, so did you guys hear
I'm not
about Star
Tommy.
Wars? They're making a Star Wars 7.
Get the hell out of
So
here.
here's what I've heard. I've heard that
Is
Chewbacca
this 2011?
Chewbacca will be in it. I've heard that they are building a Tatooine set so that once more we can go back to the desert planet.
Branching off the Chewbacca, I hear the actor might reprise the role.
Yes. Have you seen Peter Mayhew lately?
Mm-mm.
He looks like the scariest old man you've ever seen. If you get a chance to look at like an old picture of or a current picture of Peter Mayhew, like wearing the Chewbacca suit with his hat off, where it's just his head sticking out, he almost looks like Chewbacca. Like he's just scary and got long hair, and it's
Crazy.
No.
Whoa. Yeah, there he is in his
Holy
suit.
shit.
You see him in his suit? Yeah, that's the guy.
Oh,
That's the one. Like the black hair. The next one over. That's the picture I saw.
yikes.
Yeah.
Houses.
Oh well, he's a nice guy, I'm sure. So
In the background, I have 10 hours of the Imperial March, by the way, so we can do this forever.
all right. So anyway, they've apparently gotten really close. If they're not already started filming, they're right there, ready to start filming. And
So exciting.
the script isn't done,
That's not exciting.
which is always a good sign when you start making.
Sometimes those are the best movies.
Yeah. But one of the best things I've heard, and Thomas, I think you were the one who sent me this news, was that they're not going to cast a bunch of knowns. They're going to get a bunch of unknown or low-level actors.
I
that people
spotted
don't
that,
know.
and I know how much you like that idea.
I love that idea.
So,
I do.
unlike the first round of redos or whatever you want to call it, the ones from the 2000s where they got, we got to get Ewan McGregor and we got to get
Hey, now
what's his name?
Ewan McGregor is the best part of
Ewan McGregor's
Star
at
Wars
least
trilogy.
a decent actor. Yeah.
McGregor's
we got to
just-
get Samuel
Ewan McGregor
Jackson
is just gorgeous.
and we got to get
No.
Hayden
To be
Christensen.
honest, they didn't have that many big name actors, but
There
it
was
was
like
just really
at least
poorly
5.
directed.
Yeah, that's true.
Poorly written, poorly directed, but you have to admit, Sam Jackson as a Jedi, as cool as you want that to be,
Yeah, it
you
didn't
spend the whole
work.
time going, that's Sam Jackson.
He needs to be a smuggler, a badass.
Yes, he needs to have an eye patch forever. He needs to have an eye patch in his movies forever now.
Maybe he just needs to be in a different. Well, I mean, I think he does a really good job as Nick Fury. But
Yeah, no.
But then again,
there's that guy. From Law and Order or whatever.
Yeah, what's his name again? I always forget.
Horatio
Sands.
Yes.
It's not Jimmy Schmitz.
Yes, Jimmy Schmitz.
No, I thought Natalie Portman, who I think is a legitimately decent actress, not great, but decent. Oh man, she was just
cardboard.
Yeah, and against Hayden Christensen with their terrible language.
Are you an angel?
I hate sand. It's hard and gritty and it's dirty and it's all got sand in it.
I'm deep.
It's the worst. Oh my god!
So,
don't get me started on Star Wars.
I know this might already be something I don't need to ask, but I don't need to see 1, 2, and 3 before I watch 7, right?
You don't need to see 1, 2, or 3 ever.
Yeah, I know. I just.
That being said,
especially 1.
In fact, you don't even need to watch 4, 5, 6 until they actually re-release the originals. In my opinion,
here's what I'll tell you. We're going to watch 1, 2, and 3 one day, you and I.
Oh, you're going to make me do it.
And I'm going to spend the whole movie going, God damn it. Do you see that? Do you see how terrible that was?
This.
I can't see. What is
it's
that?
It's Jar Jar Binks.
The greatest.
The greatest, most delicious alien. Jar Jar Binks.
Delicious?
Wait till you see him. He's the most, he's racist.
He is racist.
Really?
He's not a racist.
Wait, you haven't seen 1,
His
2,
presentation is
no,
racist.
I have not. That's the point. I never saw 1, 2, 3. I'm a big fan of the original. I've seen 4, 5, 6, but
actually, the most racist character was the Jew guy.
I'm a Jew, and I may have wings and but notice my Jew beard. Yeah, he was pretty racist. There's a lot of mistakes in the first one, but it's mostly about crushing your childhood. So it may not be as bad.
The incredible acting of Anakin and Liam Neeson, and actually no, everyone. What am I thinking?
Liam Neeson's in it?
Yeah,
he's in the first one.
Let's watch it.
Qui-Gon Jinn or whatever.
And he's not very fun.
I don't care.
Liam Neeson's like
Liam Neeson is the best.
Cardboard.
I have a very specific set of skills.
You don't say that. It's you're like, this is. I don't understand the context of what you're saying, but this sounds mildly.
I'm able to use a lightsaber and float shit.
No, he actually carries those films on his shoulders, even though he's poorly written.
Yeah,
he still manages to.
I'm okay with you and McGregor unless he's saying lines that he didn't write that are stupid, But he does as good a job being Ben Kenobi as if anyone. I can't imagine anyone else.
Yeah.
Better. But anyway,
see,
once again, this happens every time we bring up Star Wars. We spend 5 minutes ranting about how angry we are that our childhoods were
robbed. When does 7 come out? We know they just started filming.
Soon. I think they really want to get it out soon.
Well, what does soon mean?
I want to say 2016 possibly.
At least
5
2016.
years from now.
That's a long time.
Well, 2016 is they're already setting dates.
I was gonna say that's not that soon.
Which actually could lead to another bit of news that we could discuss a little bit. They have talked. It's been in the news a lot lately that Batman vs Superman is going to be released the same weekend as Captain America 3.
Good luck with that.
Well, that's gonna not go well.
I have to think. Okay, first of all, as we've looked back on Man of Steel, even people like myself who enjoyed it have kind of started to be like, well, it did have some weak parts. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Actually just added, it's on Netflix now. I just added it to my DVD queue.
I liked it, but as I've gotten further and further away from it, I've kind of cooled to it.
Is that the one with Kevin Costner?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
It's good.
It's good.
But then all the news for the new one, they've got Wonder Woman and Batman, and they've got Holly Hunter as the Martian Manhunter. And then you've got
Kaylin Mulvey's announced movie.
How can you hate that? There was so much story and backstory and connection and emotion. It was good.
I liked it.
It was too spread thin, and
how so?
But it was a year ago, so people have already kind of started to forget. We're moving on, and then Captain America 2 came out, and
I hear only good things.
Only getting good reviews. We'll talk about that next week, but I think people
Because you got to go see it this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna see it.
I can't wait to see it. I just think people are going to be
think of Facebook.
stoked for Captain America 3. Now, obviously, Kim and I are going to go see both, right? We're going to go see
Sure.
Captain
2 and
America
3?
3, and then we're going to see.
American.
Fuck yeah!
And then we're going to also see.
Then we ran through the walls. We saw the scene where he's running.
Yeah,
and he
remember
goes to
last
the door, and
Oh,
the
we
door's
can't talk
the wall.
yet. Okay.
He couldn't stop laughing when he saw the real scene.
He was cracking up.
America! Fuck yeah! Damn it! Damn you, Thomas!
That's my.
We'll see. I also worry that with Superman versus Batman, they're going to try and kickstart the DC universe and create a whole Justice League thing. So they've got like a lot going on in that movie
Well, they
that
have
might.
a long way to go still, too.
I mean, it's 3.5 hours, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to feel choppy. I mean, it's the same worry I have with Spider-Man 2 that's coming out.
Who's Holly Hunter going to be?
I'm so.
Is she just
She's
in it?
supposed to be.
She's going to be some lady.
Of course she's going to be a lady.
No, she's going to come up. She'll be probably the Martian Manhunter in disguise. No, I'm kidding.
So this is Batman
It doesn't say.
versus Superman?
Yeah.
Do
So-
they fight each other?
So Batman's
Why do they
gonna
fight each other?
because
It's one of the-
Superman's an alien with glowy red eyes that blew up half of Metropolis, and Batman's gonna be like, "You gotta be stopped. You gotta be controlled." And then they'll fight, and then they'll realize that Lex Luthor's the real problem,
And they're
and
gonna
then
make
Batman
out.
they'll make out a few times.
Oh,
and
Do
then-
you think that Lex Luthor will like set up Superman to fight Batman?
I think so. I think so.
I mean, because Lex is
they're
going to
doing
obviously
Jesse Eisenberg
control.
Okay.
impersonation of Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah. Hi. I'm Lex Luthor. Yeah. Ooh.
That's
God,
my
that
Woody
was-
Allen.
Love it.
I was like, wait, who is this?
I'm a Lex Luthor. Ooh.
Wow, these impersonations.
I nailed that, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I nailed it. Oh well.
Oh man.
Didactic.
So 2016,
Ish.
maybe.
Maybe, possibly.
Ish.
Yeah.
Well, they better make out.
To have both of them come out on the same weekend, though, is just
Seems a little.
begging for trouble.
Yeah.
Tommy.
Yeah.
And Marvel Studios is now officially the biggest money-making franchise. The Marvel movies are the biggest money-making franchise of all time now. It was Star Wars, but Harry Potter beat Star Wars, and Marvel has just passed
Wow.
Harry Potter.
I don't like comics anymore. It's just too mainstream, you know.
Too mainstream.
Oh, Jesus.
Speaking of comics,
Heavy
another
bar.
bit of news: Dreadstar, a 1980s comic, has been is being made into a movie. This was a comic that was read by literally one person, me, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
awesome. There's no way they're making this into it's one word.
Thanks.
His name is Vanth Dreadstar. Yeah, look on that one. Sure, click on that. Oh, that's not the right one. Click on that one.
This one?
The first one, yeah. That's too small. You can see what he looks like, though. Okay, so close that. And
So blue and red with the
Click
little
down there.
dagger.
This guy?
yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
that's Vanth Dreadstar.
Vanth.
It looks like a
name's
character in one of those
Van.
lame sci-fi novels you read.
It's a lame sci-fi. It's so lame. And I remember reading it and going, oh my gosh, this looks so cheesy and everything. Like that guy, the cat man there. He's
Yes!
He's awesome.
That's
He's such a cool
amazing.
cat man. So it's just the cheesiest looking thing.
And it's
I
gonna be a
loved
movie?
it. I loved it. They're gonna make it into a movie, and it's gonna be terrible.
Like
but-
a tongue-in-cheek movie, or they're gonna try to go legit
it's
with it?
really heavy. Actually, it was at the time when it came out. I was just like, it was very heavy. The main villain. I don't know. See, go up a little bit and let's see if I can find you a picture of the villain. That guy in the white face there. Yeah. You can kind of see him. He looks suspiciously
unicorn?
like Thanos.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's because Jim Starlin, who created Dreadstar, also created Thanos.
It's action. It's like
Oh.
That's
they're-
action
They're
coming
moving.
off
I
of his back.
thought it was a unicorn.
That shows that he's moving with great speed.
Oh.
They both are.
Okay.
So this is going to be a movie. There's no way it's actually getting made.
I'm gonna get this as a tattoo, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Get that
Nice.
Dread Star where you're
Yeah.
doing that kind of
Yeah.
On your
weird,
back.
like one leg out.
Back piece.
You're like,
Well,
hey,
this guy-
honey.
That's his buddy. He's a magic dude.
Wow, magic dude, huh?
Damn
Yeah.
it.
Deep.
Let's see if I can find a
His
good
name's
picture.
not Magic Dude, is it?
No.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Are you kidding me?
Bro, magic dude.
Hey,
I wish I could-
it's
yeah, click on
Dread
this one.
Star.
Why
Damn
did
it.
you
I don't know. Why did you explain that to me?
Dude, can you imagine? I can see that
He's
being
the
a
tall guy
webcomic
with
or
half his
something.
face melted
Dread
off.
Star,
He's
magic
cool.
dude.
It's
Yeah,
kinda
like, that's the crew. That's all the good
what
guys
is it,
right there.
Mister? He's like
What? Is
The
there,
Catman's not there.
is there a child?
moist.
Oh,
He's just
Dr.
very
Horrible.
Yeah,
small,
yeah,
man.
he's just what?
They're aliens.
Okay.
He's a small alien man. I don't even know how to recommend it. It's far away. It's not going to get made anytime soon.
What
but it's in
universe?
the
Well, because
its own universe. It's completely separate. It's not part of the Marvel
you
universe.
mentioned Marvel, they have movies planned out all the way to 2026.
26.
officially.
Holy crap.
No, they don't.
What
That's
the-
so far away. Yeah, they're gonna make what? Doctor Strange. They're gonna make Ant-Man. They're gonna make the TV shows on Netflix. Daredevil,
Spider-Man
and all that.
3, Captain America 3,
You're making
Avengers 3.
Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon.
But yeah,
Not a standalone movie.
No, but
We'll
he's
see.
in that movie.
Oh yeah, but because
Oh.
that's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Perfect segue.
Did I segue?
Yeah, you did. I have a clip for that. They released a clip for
Yay, let's watch
Guardians
it.
of the Galaxy.
Ooh, let's see it.
Let's watch it.
Ready?
I'm moving. Sorry, folks.
You're fine.
This tiny screen.
This looks like the same commercial.
Yeah.
I've not seen
This
it
isn't
yet.
Jurassic Park 3, is it?
It might be. It might be Ford. Dick.
Or 4. Excuse me.
I haven't seen this one.
No.
This
Hey,
looks
cool, man.
like
No
the
Maybe I
problem.
have.
No problem at all.
Who are you?
Star-Lord. Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
He's so good.
Guys.
Right?
I love him.
He's great.
This is nice.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
This is new.
What? Is he jumping?
Did you see his cool face mask?
This actually might be cool.
Oh, wow.
They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Yeah, it's a new
Yeah,
So that
makes the movie look good.
I'll watch that,
Like,
yeah.
that is really cool.
I
That
like
looks
that.
good.
Well, it's
I love
I'm
his
getting
his
way
suit.
more excited for it because I wasn't at first.
I didn't have any clue of what it
Uh-uh.
was, and I didn't give a shit about it, and
Yeah.
now I do.
Yeah.
Well, that's Marvel's.
I think the other
really
trailer's a little bit cooler with the Uga Chaka, but
You get a little bit more there, but this, I think Marvel's making a really interesting move by going to their lesser known characters and creating these movies because they can kind of do what they want with them,
Yeah.
right?
and they have the money,
Yeah.
And now they have the money. They have all the money. But I mean, yeah, it's when I first heard Thor was going to be a movie, I remember thinking Thor.
I thought the same thing. I was like,
that's the
who
crappiest of-
gives a shit?
Yeah,
And I came out of that. I was like,
and I'm like, Loki's awesome.
So good.
That's what came out of
Loki,
it.
Loki, man,
They're gonna make a movie about Loki.
they will. They'll get to the point where they're like, how do we not just make Loki movies all the time?
I would watch like 8 of those. He's
See,
so good.
But
Yeah.
part of my concern, I'm starting to realize that the downside to what they're doing is how many like Captain Americas or Iron Mans can
Reboot.
Chris Evans make? How many can
He
Tony Stark
said,
make?
I had a friend who's pretty keen on the Marvel stuff. He said that he's going to do Captain America 3 and Avengers 3. I think Avengers 3, excuse me.
I think that's his contract is
and
through
then
Avengers 3
he
and then
said
he's done.
Yeah.
So no more, not even for Cap 3?
No, he's doing Captain America
Okay.
3. Captain America 3, Avengers 3, and then he's done with Captain
Right,
America.
but then you can't just have a new guy say, "Now I'm Captain America." If
Yeah.
you're using all the other actors,
Yeah,
you know.
that
His
means that's done.
son, obviously, or clone. CG.
just,
I'm,
By
just
that point,
motion capture him from
we
all
don't
the
have
other
to do
movies.
anything. We're just
It'll be so far in the future.
everything. Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe they will just have to do reboots. I
How
mean,
funny would that be if they had Captain America 4, and they just took bits of him and dialogue from all the previous 3 movies and then put it into all the other shots, like edited, spliced it together. It's so shitty.
Yeah.
All right.
Only
So-
you could.
We need him to say this, and he never says it. Fuck it, just use whatever he says there.
Just get
Just use his dialogue from his past movies.
Yeah.
I got something here from not another teen movie that'll work perfectly.
Oh my gosh.
Banana Split.
Okay, so is that enough news? Let's
Yeah, we can save the rest of it for
let's
next
move
week.
on to homework.
Oh, homework.
So who gave us the homework? Is Nathan?
I did, yes.
And you assigned.
I assigned a documentary that I kept hearing about for the last 2 years called A Band Called Death. And basically it is the 2-second version is there's a punk band, all black men from the early 70s, predates the Ramones, predates Sex Pistols, and they went and basically what I learned from watching this was they based off of their name pretty much never became a thing. They recorded an album, they were all set to go, and everyone hated their name. They said you'll never make it, and so they never came out, and the Ramones happened, and the Sex Pistols happened, and then history was made. And these guys sound like the Ramones copied them. These guys, since we think the Ramones created punk, these guys sound like Ramones knockoffs, and then you look at the timeline, and they're like 3 years prior. So...
I thought they sounded like the Bad Brains copied them. Have you heard Bad Brains?
Yes. Yeah.
I kept hearing songs and going, "Oh, that's like Bad Brains." Yeah.
So it chronicles the entire creation and death of Death, and then what they go on to do, and then the really odd resurgence of them back in 2008. So I was curious what you guys thought.
Not even
of
a
the movie.
resurgence because they never surged. in
That's
the first-
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. A rediscovery. Excuse me. Yeah. I misspoke. Yeah.
Discovery.
A rediscovery.
35 years after they did their thing.
So I was captivated by the whole thing. I thought it was fascinating, and I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I was sold. I actually got off the documentary, went right to iTunes and bought the album.
Yeah, I went to Amazon and bought the album.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
I couldn't help it. I'm like, I have to have this now.
I just want to hear it.
I
So-
thought it was boring.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know. They spent a lot of time talking to the band, and like, to be honest, it just felt like I was listening to a garage band that never made it just talk about like when they were younger, and
That's exactly what it was.
Pretty much what it was.
yeah, well, yeah, it was, but it just wasn't. The stories weren't interesting enough. I guess for me, it just
To me, just the fact that it was like rock and roll's lost little love child discovered or whatever. It just, from the word go, I was like, oh yes, this is interesting.
I guess
to
in
me.
the back of my mind, though, I'm thinking how many bands didn't make it that invented
still never got it discovered,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Made music that maybe was discovered later on, or whatever else. So it just looked like I was just listening to, some guys from
Detroit.
Detroit, just kind of talk about their childhood, and I was just kind of like, and then I got to hear all the fanboys talk about how they discovered them first,
That I
or
could've
blogged
done.
about them first.
I could have
and
done
then,
without that whole 20
oh my god,
minutes.
my dad's popular, and I was just like,
That part was interesting because I kept thinking, why the hell does he not know this? Mm-hmm. It's his kid. Why wouldn't he be like, oh yeah, I used to be in a band with your uncles, and we rocked a lot and never made it. Like, that would be something I would never stop talking about if that were me. Like, that part was interesting to me for some reason. Like, why would that be a mystery to his own child?
I think this movie's interesting for me because I found it to be quite interesting, although maybe a little long.
It was about 10, 20 minutes too
One
long.
of the things that was really interesting to me, though, was that one of the 3 band members and kind of the leader of the group was this guy, David. He was the oldest of the 3 brothers. And he names the band Death. And they go out, they get basically signed with a record, guy. They mix a 7-song album. They're getting ready to
the
go.
music is good.
And the
It is
music's
really good.
legitimately good for that style. If you like that style, it's
Which I do,
surprisingly
yeah.
good, and I do too. That early '70s
Actually,
kind of.
I
rock.
only liked it when they were recording with David. I didn't really dig any of the new.
Yeah, the newer stuff.
Yeah, new stuff doesn't do it. I know there was something about David's presence there that he because he was on guitar, he was doing something.
Yeah, and the voice, the sound,
Yeah.
the recording, maybe all that mixed. But as soon as they got someone else to do it or the cover band, I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
So David says,
this David guy was the band basically.
That's the feeling you get from the first 30 minutes anyways. David's the tortured genius that's creating this, and the other guys are decent on their instruments, but David's the genius. He's the one that's stepping out of the box and creating something new. So they mixed this album, and then the head producer guy says, you have to change the name. We're not going to put out an album with the name Death. And he says no. And he sticks by his guns, and they can't make it. And then suddenly it's like 25 years later, David's an alcoholic, and he dies because he's just old and sad, and it didn't work out. And I kept thinking, and they're kind of praising, David always stuck by it. He always knew that someday it would come through. And I want to go, you know what? No, I think David fucked up.
Yeah, I think he did too.
His one mistake is he couldn't. If he got rid of the name Death for something else, Triangles or whatever.
Of course.
They may have been the big thing.
If they could have been, but the brothers actually understood that he was this, I like the term torture genius, but he had issues. They said that it was all wrapped up into one. The name, the meaning, coming back from their dad's funeral when their dad died too young. And he has all of this in a vision, and that's the way he works, and I just don't think it could have ever been another way.
You could argue, though, that if it is about the music, you're going to do whatever it takes to get your music out. They aren't asking to change the songs, the messages, or anything that they were recording. It was simply the title.
But that's not how David worked. That's why David was so peculiar and sometimes difficult to work with.
One of the brothers kind of nailed it succinctly. He said the music was the identity of the name, and the name was the music. It was one and the same. You can't really have one without the other. In his twisted mind, you cannot have one without the other.
And he was integral to the entire thing. So if they'd changed the name, they would never have done anything from then on. I think Death would have died.
Well, technically, they do change the name to the Fourth Movement, and then they became like a Christian punk band.
And then they became a reggae band without David.
Right.
Which was odd.
Spark the ganja.
Spark the ganja.
I guess, but you'd think that if they wanted to make music, and I realize he was a strange guy, or he's different, why didn't the brothers kind of take charge there a little bit? I realize he wrote the music, etc., and they played, and but at the same time, they're family. Mm-hmm. And if they're like, they talked about the number one thing was family, as far as, and if that was true, I think that if they stepped in and was like, for us, it's about the music. If that was true, then
I think they had a different idea of family, which was we support each other and we don't fight. And so I think they took that more strongly than we need to assert our own opinion of what our band does.
I could go devil's advocate and say that all they did was follow him.
Yeah.
And allow him to lead his way down into Nowheresville, and alcoholism and everything else.
But I think they saw that as being the only way they could support him and be family with him.
But
think in some ways.
Maybe that's what this movie's about, is how we revise history and how we kind of... Because I bet at the time they were just like, I'm so sick of David with his death band. He's stopping us left and right. You know what? Let him go back to Detroit. We'll stay here. I think they let him go because they were tired of it.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, now that he's dead, they're like, things happen.
That's not what the documentary set forward as, this kind of revision. Because, David's the only one that's not in the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So they all speak for him.
And David becomes almost this angelic character.
Yeah.
He just, to me, he just became...
got put on a little bit of a pedestal.
They have a poster of him behind him when they're playing.
After the music was done, he still did music a little bit, but he was jobless. He was a drunk.
Well, he smoked. That's how he died. It was lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
Yeah, and it's just to me.
I was really waiting for him to say that he went and ended it because he couldn't take it. That's what I was waiting
he
for.
married someone. He didn't take care of himself. It's just, to me, that's not that admirable. And
No, I'm not actually on the side of the.
No, I know, but so when
I'm just saying what I saw and how I interpreted
but that's
it.
probably why maybe I was a little turned off by the family speaking. I was just kind of like the entire time I was rolling my eyes. They're saying all, like Lewis kind of mentioned, they're saying all these great things, and yet he obviously made a lot of mistakes and didn't try to.
Well, that's what happens. I mean, we don't know about death because there were mistakes made, there were choices made, and they never got known. They never were found,
Yeah.
And they talk about him like he's a prophet, He said that we'd get famous after he died, and I'm like, yeah.
And he took the photograph and the triangle with the light and the...
But he also said
I think
that death was the name, and it had to be that, and maybe it wasn't, Like, maybe... It's hard to know because you can only see what actually happens, but it does feel like when you're listening to the history, I think these guys could have gone somewhere back in '76. Yeah.
Well, even they could have even without losing the name Death, they could have literally came up with an acronym or something and just called it ABAD or whatever, a band called, or ABCD or whatever, a band called Death. They could have called it anything. It still would have meant the same thing to themselves.
Sounds like David might have been, a little troubled or childish about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just...
Kimberly said something really interesting at the end of the film, though. She said, and because we saw another documentary similar to this where they...
Anvil.
Oh, about Anvil,
Yeah.
the band Anvil. Have you heard of them?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there's a whole documentary called Anvil, and it's about this band that's kind of not known, that have been around forever, and they just keep struggling and keep trying. And then there was also another documentary about a book. Do you remember this? About the Stones of Summer?
Yep.
And it's just some classic book that no one's heard of, and then someone found it and started passing it around. It was written, back in the 60s, and the kid that wrote it died in the 80s or whatever, and then they start passing it around in 2000, and people were like, this book's genius, how did we not know? And I wonder if maybe part of the fascination for me and maybe for Kim is the idea that there's genius shit out there
that hasn't been talked about
that because it's just it hasn't been discovered.
It's new.
Yeah.
Well, it's about this. It exists, and then when you don't know about it, and then you find out about it, there's this excitement. There's this, I can't believe I missed it. There's this desire, and there's, like we saw with all the fanboys you were talking about, there's kind of like this, I must listen, I must experience.
The guy paid $800.
He got ripped off. I'm sorry. It wasn't worth $800, but it is good.
I
Record
think we have
collectors,
this
though.
fascination with stuff that is brilliant or amazing that no one ever knew in its time.
Now,
and that's the kind of time travel we get crazy about it.
Does it make it so? Say, if you were to give it on its merit, and it came out to a 7.5, still really solid, really really good, not way above average, even an 8 out of 10 or whatever if you were to rate it on a scale. And then just for the sole fact that it's really hard to find, no one's hardly ever heard about it, and there's this buzz around it or whatever, does that immediately make it a 10.5 or 11 or whatever, 11 out of 10? Does it kind of boost it more? Does it make it better than what it is because of what it is?
Sometimes that happens. I think sometimes you feel like, oh my word, I'm in on something that no one else is in on, and there's that added excitement that boosts it. Because I ordered this Death album as soon as the movie was over.
Yeah, 20 minutes later,
and
I was ordering
guarantee I'm going to get it, and I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to go, this is all right.
Yeah,
it's all right. I listened to it 3 times and then put it on my shelf.
I listened to it because I did the iTunes thing, so it's already up there, and I listened to it through, and I went through and rated them all and liked them all and whatnot, and then I hit pause and got busy with my day and haven't got back to it since. But I have a feeling it will get onto my iPod. I'm like, oh yeah, there's Death every time that it comes up, and there'll be that little special something. But I don't know. It's kind of, I feel like it kind of falsely pads the numbers because of the.
And I feel like I know the family in a weird way. I know the musicians.
Yeah, a little more than I needed. Yeah,
because I've sat there and listened to them talk for an hour and a half.
And the oldest brother, I couldn't get over within the first 20 minutes they were talking
about his tongue.
His tongue
and
is
his
staying in
laugh.
his mouth.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
good lord.
His tongue is trying to escape.
Like, somebody stop him, save him from himself. He's gonna chomp the end of that thing off.
I thought, and maybe it's just me, but I thought the funeral was a little disrespectful to be filming that, even for a
I was
documentary.
thinking that too.
I was surprised. I don't know if it was disrespectful, but I was surprised that they let the crew in there.
I thought that just because as soon as it snapped to a different angle, I'm like, there's like more than one camera rolling in this thing. Get the fuck out of there! What are you doing there?
Here's what I think. I think that when they're filming this, because it takes place over a time period, because their mom dies while they're filming.
Yeah,
So
it was like a period of like 15 years, right? Because
so
they started
come
back in the
so they come
90s.
back. And I think the reason why the crew's at the funeral and they kind of want the cameras everywhere is because they're finally getting their moment of
I think so
fame.
too. I
And
think the crew
they
shows
want
up in
every
2009 and they're
last
like,
bit of it.
hey, yeah.
I really
a tuxedo at the.
And so that makes me think
Yeah,
that they
I
kind
think you're right.
did let some slip by with David, and they maybe are more frustrated than they're expressing because they know this is going to be in a movie and they don't want to disrespect anybody in their family.
Right.
But I think they really love the action. They say they said they thought about it for, what was it, like 15 minutes or so before they actually said they'd go on tour with their sons, right? The one guy and his 3 sons. And I was like, it didn't take you guys 15 to 20, 30 minutes. The second you heard about it, you probably were like, yes! Like,
Yeah.
but you just didn't say yes right away.
Yeah.
So I think they finally wanted their due. I mean, they made something great, but
Well,
it just took 30 years.
35, yeah. Well, and the drummer said something kind of interesting right before the credits rolled, was that they are unwilling participants in a movie that they. Their life is similar to a movie, and they're kind of like the unwilling participants of the movie or whatever. So,
A little meta.
yeah, a little bit, kind of weird, but I found it to be interesting for the musical aspects of it, and black punk band. I mean, especially for '72, they're not really heard of. Like the Motown thing was still going pretty strong.
I kind of like that. So I like that early '70s rock.
And
And they were talking about all their idols and the concerts they would go to, and they're like, when the Who came to town,
that was
holy
it.
shit,
Yeah.
you know, like, and I'm like, that's what you would. I mean, who else are you gonna watch?
Yeah.
You know, who else is gonna influence you?
The Who.
The Who.
All right, Kimberly, you're up for homework. What are you gonna assign?
Oh, so I'm excited. Lewis and I heard this one guy say right before the Oscars that he thinks Matthew McConaughey should get the Oscar, but not for
Dallas
Buyers Club, but for the movie Mud. And I've seen Mud on the queue for a while. I know nothing about it. Matthew McConaughey's in it, so I want us to watch Mud.
Okay.
I'm excited to see it. It's watch now, so...
I saw it pop up not too long ago, and I was like, ooh, I think I heard something or other about that ad. So it's been sitting in my queue for a couple
So all of us get to see
Mud.
Matthew McConaughey and think to ourselves,
we'll never look like that.
yeah.
That guy's body's amazing.
Yeah,
Still, I know.
So, all right, guys. So what we'll do then is Mud for homework, and I guess we'll say goodnight. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for checking us out on the YouTube. We can stream on YouTube now.
Yeah, so feel free to check in and watch us on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And
where do we find that?
You just go to youtube.com/time spent poorly.
Okay, and this
find
was
that.
what, episode 61? Next week will be
Yep.
62?
Yep.
All right.
So,
So if you want to contact us,
yeah, you can contact us by going. You can get me on Twitter at Nathan L. Betts.
at Nathan L. Betts.
You can get us on Facebook. You can get us
at Time Spent Poorly.
Yeah, you can go to timespentpoorly.com and leave a comment right there.
You can find us on YouTube.
You can find us on YouTube
Can
now.
you Twitter us? Oh, you're Twitter.
I'm on Twitter, and the network Twitter is TSP_1 because someone is camping on Time Spent Poorly. Ward Falk, we're looking your way, buddy.
Okay.
That's all
we're
his fault.
looking at you, Ward.
Come on, Ward.
What
Yeah.
if I'm a fan of Thomas the Doubter and I want to send him a note?
You can find Thomas Rudy on Facebook.
His picture.
Here you go. Got this note for you. You can just go find Thomas Rudy on Facebook and
Fantastic.
and
Yeah.
you can send him a note or send it.
Let any of us know if there's some movies you want us to
Yeah,
watch.
absolutely.
Yeah, if you're on Facebook and you want us to watch a movie, send us a note, and we will probably not watch it.
Like us on Facebook too.
Oscar!
Yeah.
We still have to watch Oscar,
That
which
used to
was
be
recommended by Adam.
Used to be on
Maybe
Watch
game
Instant.
night.
Fine
Hey,
man.
but that one recommend that we did watch the horror film.
It was-
Feast
yes.
was
Feast was
really
Amanda.
good.
Yes.
Thank
So
you,
Amanda, if you're still out there, give us
Yes.
another recommendation.
I love that one.
Or anybody else.
Anyone else?
Do it.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and keep watching movies and
Have a great movie night.
a movie night.
And also coming up pretty soon, we have some new Young Blood starting up pretty soon. On the 14th, we have a new podcast coming to you. Yeah, so
What's it about? What's
keep you posted. It's the Carlton Brothers. The Carlton Brothers. They are some local kids that I know. They were doing the comedy with me, the stand-up comedy with me for a while, and now they want to start doing their own podcast.
They're just
go
going to
along
talk
with it.
about stuff?
Just their own weird, off-the-wall brand of comedy that is themselves. They're quirky
So
little
we'll
fellas.
have to tune in to find out.
Fantastic.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So stay in touch with Time Spent Poorly Network and
Yep.
listen to all of the podcasts, but mostly listen to Hanging from the Balcony. And as we say, have a fabulous movie time.
Have a wonderful movie night.
Have a wonderful movie night. And eat your popcorn.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
Eat it.